Sphinx describe valid input values to API. I've been using Sphinx to document our API. As one might expect, there are certain parameters in our API for whose values are a restricted set. For example, there might be an UM parameter for a post which describes a TV, and the same parameter might be available for filtering on a get. My problem has been that I can't find a built-in way to describe valid parameter values. For bools I'm okay with just putting it in parens, but some parameters have 20 valid input values, and some have multiple possible sets of input params depending on the value of multiple variable points in the route. For example, internally, we don't allow any possible value for game consolidated or gameite. We want a game consolidated to be a PlayStation, or an Xbox, or a Nintendo. The same is true of the gameite. If you pass a Mario game to a PlayStation console, it should return an error, and we want to document that. Is this a sign that the API needs to be designed differently, or am I just missing how to do the documentation norms? To be more clear, I'm trying to figure out how to do something in Sphinx. Specifically, I am looking for correct syntax, commands, or norms for documenting the valid input parameters to an API endpoint. It is clear to me how to document that there is a valid input parameter. Query string parameter, JSON parameter, for post etc. What isn't clear to me is how to document the valid values for those inputs. We have valid inputs defined, it just isn't clear to me how to communicate that through Sphinx. For example, below are the valid inputs to game consolidated.
A good approach is to look at existing documentation of a popular and well-documented project such as Python itself. Python documentation uses several methods to documenting parameters that can take one of a set of values. Textual form as in zip file. The mode parameter should be A to read an existing file, W to truncate and write a new file, or A to append to an existing file. Bullet list of values, possibly with descriptions, as in os.chmod. Mode may take one of the following values, as defined in the stat module, or bitwise ORID combinations of them, stat.s_isuid, stat.s_isgid, stat.s_infant. Table of values and their descriptions as in format specification mini language. Edit. In the spirit of this answer, the documentation for the numpy.array order parameter starts as follows. Order K, A, C, F, optional. Here we see that the allowed values are written as the type. That is, rather than specifying that order takes the type str and then explaining what specific str values are allowed, the set of values that are allowed are listed as the type and users infer the type is str.
If you want to support the channel, please consider subscribing.